I realized I survived only because the ash smelled stronger than I did. For a second, that thought is the only thing keeping me tethered to the world, floating in the suffocating blur of smoke and heat. Everything else is noise. Glass cracking somewhere above me, metal groaning like an injured animal, the soft hiss of something collapsing farther down the street. My cheek is pressed to broken concrete. It's rough, biting into my skin every time my chest jerks with a breath. Pebbles and dust scratch my lips. When I inhale, it's like dragging razors down my throat. Burnt plastic, melted wiring, scorched wood. The world has been reduced to shades of black and orange, sparks drifting through the air like lazy, lethal fireflies. I try to move my fingers. They twitch. That feels surprising. I shouldn't be alive. The building that used to be my apartment block is a skeleton, floors peeled open like layers of a charred onion. The high-rise next to ours is missing half its face. Flames still lick at exposed beams and twisted balconies, trying to decide what else they want to eat. It's quiet, and it shouldn't be. There should be howls, sirens, the thunder of paws, the hot, wild stench of fur and fear and fury. Instead, there's just ash and me. I blink. Grit scrapes my eyeballs. Tears blur my vision, more from smoke than emotion, though the emotions are queued up too, waiting for their turn. I inhale again, carefully. Burnt insulation, gasoline, cheap cologne fading from torn fabric somewhere nearby, the acrid tang of extinguished flames and the faint metallic scent of blood. But not me. Not that low animal note that should be humming under my skin. Not the subtle trail that marks every werewolf to every other. The thing alphas read like a mood ring. My scent is gone. Even for me. That's wrong. I don't know how long I lie there cataloging destruction like it's a grocery list. One breath. Another, each one a test. Still here? Still here. Unfortunately, yes. I shouldn't have made it out, I think. And the thought comes out flat, distant. But somehow, I did. Heat stabs my side when I try to roll onto my back. My ribs protest, sharp and white-hot. I grit my teeth and move anyway, dragging my weight over shattered stone until I manage to flop halfway onto my back. That's when I see him. At first, he's just a shape cutting through the smoke, a tall, broad-shouldered silhouette framed by the flicker of dying flames. Heavy boots, crushed debris underfoot. The reflective stripes of his gear flash muted silver with each step. A helmet hides most of his face, but the lower half is visible, a firm jaw shadowed with dark stubble, lips pressed into a thin line. The emblem on his chestplate is stark white against soot-stained armor, the stylized wolf head of the city's specialist brigade. The werewolf fire squad. Great. He moves with the kind of controlled power that screams alpha before you even get a good look. The kind other wolves step out of the way for on instinct. His presence hits like a pressure change, the air around him denser, heavier, threaded, with the sharp scent of smoke and pine sap, and something metallic cold. Authority. Command. He's already checking the ground, eyes raking across the rubble with professional focus. When they land on me, he stops. For a moment we just stare at each other, me, half buried in broken concrete, him, standing over me like the city itself sent him. Up close, he's even more unnerving. His eyes are a pale steel gray, too clear for how dark everything else is. He scans me head to toe in a single, efficient sweep, taking in the torn clothes, the soot, the blood at my hairline. Then he freezes, just a fraction. His nostrils flare. Alphas always do that. It's automatic. They read you before they talk to you. Fear, arousal, anger, illness, lies. All of it lives in the scent that spills off your skin, whether you want it to or not. Except mine doesn't. He inhales again, deeper this time. His jaw tenses. Those pale eyes sharpen, a small crease appearing between his brows. There it is. The moment he realizes there's nothing. Heat flares behind his gaze, sudden and violent. His shoulders square, posture tightening like a bowstring. I don't need a translator to hear what his instincts are screaming. Wrong. 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 He steps closer. Dust eddies around his boots. The air between us feels crowded with all the things he can't smell. His voice, when it finally comes, is low and rough, edged with command. "Can you move?" I open my mouth. A cough comes out first, dry and shaky, bending me in half. Pain spikes through my chest. He reaches out as if to steady me, then stops himself. I watch his hand hover in the air, fingers flexing once, before curling into a fist. "Focus, Emrys." I force sound past my raw throat. Sort of. I rasp. My own voice sounds like it's been dragged over gravel. On a good day, his gaze cuts to my face sharply, like he didn't expect me to joke. Then his attention drops back to my chest, my shoulders, the bare skin at the hollow of my throat, where a scent should wrap around me like an invisible halo. There's nothing. I can see the exact second his wolf lunges up, furious and territorial. The faint flicker of golden light in his irises, the slight change in his breathing. Every alpha I've ever met looks like that right before they decide to remind the world they're at the top of the food chain. And then it happens. His wolf hits whatever field exists around me, and goes quiet. Not calmed, not soothed. Extinguished. The golden light in his eyes snuffs out. His lips part, the smallest breath leaving him like someone punched it from his lungs. He blinks once, twice, as if trying to reboot something inside his own head. What he's feeling, that hollow drop in his gut, that sudden animal silence, that's me. He doesn't know that, of course. Yet, all he knows is that his instincts just tripped over something they can't process. And if there is odna vesh, kotoru alfi nenavidiat bolshe, kem zapak chujoi krovi. It's losing control. His expression hardens. "Name," he snaps. I lie there for one petty heartbeat, listening to the crackle of distant flames and the faint groan of a collapsing stairwell, and consider not answering. Then, because I'm tired and everything hurts, and his voice is just a little too sharp, I let my mouth move faster than my survival instincts. "If I tell you," I say hoarsely, "you still won't hear it." His eyes narrow. For a split second, something suspiciously like a fence flickers across his face. Great. I've managed to annoy the walking embodiment of city authority while pinned under half a building. Maybe I do have a death wish. His hand moves again, this time decisively. He crouches beside me, gear creaking, the smell of smoke and pine suddenly overwhelming. Up close I can see the strain at the corners of his eyes, the soot smeared across the bridge of his nose. He slips an arm under my shoulders. I tense automatically. The last thing I want is an alpha anywhere near me, let alone one who's already decided I'm a problem. "Easy," he mutters. "You're not dying here." "Disappointing," I manage. His jaw flexes. "You can argue about it later." He stands in one smooth motion, pulling me with him like I weigh nothing. My legs try to help and immediately regret the attempt. Pain screams up my left side. The world tilts. His grip tightens, holding me against the solid wall of his chest. The instinctive panic that usually follows that kind of contact, years of learned wariness around stronger wolves, doesn't come. There's heat, yes. The awareness of his strength, the way his heartbeat hammers steady and hard against my shoulder. But his wolf? Silent. It's like leaning against a cage after the animal inside has gone to sleep. His arm shifts under my knees, and then I'm completely off the ground, cradled, against him firefighter style as he picks his way back through the rubble. I could complain. I could insist I can walk. Instead, I watch him. His focus is razor sharp, scanning for falling debris, unstable surfaces, anything that might crush us both. He moves like someone used to carrying people out of hell, and doing it fast. Every few seconds I feel his chest expand, his lungs pulling in more air, like he's still trying to catch the scent he expects and not finding it. The distant wail of sirens grows louder as we emerge from the broken mouth of the building. The night sky above the city is bruised purple, smeared with black smoke. Flames flicker in shattered windows, reflected in puddles of water and gasoline. Fire trucks line the street, their lights painting everything in strobes of red and blue. Around us, other wolves move. Gear, helmets, clipped shouts, the sharp bite of adrenaline and scorched fur in the air. Some look our way. Their gazes snag on me. On him, carrying me. His grip tightens slightly, possessive in a way he probably doesn't even notice. Stay with me, he says, low enough that only I hear. You pass out, I'll be annoyed. Wouldn't want that, I murmur. My eyelids feel heavy. The ash in my lungs grinds with every breath. You're scary when you're broody. That earns a huff, almost a laugh, quickly strangled. He strides toward a waiting armored truck. Its back doors are open, the interior lit with harsh white lights, medical supplies, restraints, reinforced benches. Not just for victims, for suspects. The realization settles over me like another layer of soot. Of course, to him, I'm not just someone he pulled from a collapsed building. I'm the only survivor of a fire that shouldn't have killed wolves. I don't have a scent. His wolf goes dead when he gets near me. To an alpha obsessed with control, that's not a coincidence. That's a threat. He adjusts his hold one last time before stepping up into the truck. For a heartbeat, our eyes meet again. Steel gray and ash brown, suspicion, and something more complicated, tangling between us like smoke. My name is Thane, he says. There's a grudging note of introduction in it, like he's aware this is more than an arrest but hasn't decided what exactly. Captain of Squad 7, Emrys, I say quietly, because what's the point in hiding it now? His brows twitch, like the name tastes strange without a scent to anchor it. He settles me onto the bench, one hand lingering on my shoulder an extra second. Instinct or hesitation, I can't tell. As the doors swing closed and the truck rumbles to life, the city outside burns on, orange light flickering through the narrow window. We drive away from the ruins of my old life, deeper into the territory of the wolves who think they know how to read everyone. He can't read me, and that, more than the fire, is what's about to change everything. The interrogation room feels less like a room and more like a surgical tray someone forgot to put a patient on. Cold metal walls, bright white lights, vents big enough to suck the scent off a corpse, which is exactly the point. This place is designed to strip away every distraction until all that's left is the truth, or whatever version of it the alpha in charge wants to hear. I sit on the bolted-down chair, hands resting loosely on my knees, posture relaxed enough to look cooperative but not enough to look weak. The metal beneath me is unpleasantly cold, but after the fire the temperature feels almost comforting. Mostly, I'm bored, or pretending to be. Hard to tell the difference anymore. The door opens with a hiss, and he steps in. Thane. Without the soot, without the chaos of the burning street, he looks even. More like the problem that walked out of a training manual, strong. Clean lines of muscle under dark fire-resistant fabric, the wolf emblem, stitched near his shoulder, jaw clenched tight enough to crack teeth. His eyes flick to me instantly, as if checking I haven't vanished while his back was turned. Inhales. I don't give him what he's looking for. The line between his eyebrows deepens. He closes the door behind him and approaches with long, controlled steps that feel more like pacing before a pounce. His wolf is pushing against him, frustrated, unsettled, then falling silent again the second he's within a few feet of me. I watch the moment it happens, the brief flicker of gold in his irises, the sudden drop in his breathing, that same startled stiffness from the ruins. He hates it. Start talking, he says, voice low and clipped. You were found in the epicenter of a structural collapse. How? I tilt my head, blinking slowly, walking by. His jaw tightens. Don't play games with me. I'm not. I pause. Not yet. His nostrils flare, not in anger, but in a reflexive attempt to read me again. To smell fear, deception, guilt, anything. Nothing. It's almost satisfying. He circles once, like a predator assessing angles. My gaze tracks him lazily. He hates that too. Everyone else in that building died, he says. Wolves don't go down easily. Something unusual happened. He stops in front of me, leaning down enough that I can see the faint shadows under his eyes, the exhaustion behind the steel. So tell me what that was. I look him right in the face, letting a tiny smile curl the corner of my mouth. You're nervous. His expression shudders. Excuse me? You keep trying to catch a scent, I add gently, almost sympathetic. And you can't. That bothers you. That's not. He starts, then stops, jaw ticking. I wait. And you keep doing it, I say softly. His fingers twitch like he wants to slam them on the metal table, but restrains himself. Wolves hate being observed. Alphas especially. They're the ones who are supposed to read others, not be read. That alone makes the silence between us deliciously tense. He settles for a warning growl instead, barely audible, but I hear it. The moment the sound leaves his chest, his wolf lunges, and I feel the exact second it hits the void where my scent should be. The growl dies. His wolf extinguishes. Again. Thane takes a sharp step back, breath catching slightly. I don't laugh. That would be suicidal. But something warm flickers under my ribs. Not amusement exactly. Recognition, like my instincts stretching after years of sleep. For the first time since I woke up in the rubble, I feel something. Through the one-way mirror, faint voices filter in. Is that the Omega they found? No scent. Can you believe it? He's tiny. If that kid is the fire starter, I'll eat Captain Thane's helmet. Don't let him hear you say that. Thane's eyes narrow at the wall as if he can incinerate them through it. Then he looks back at me. You don't act like a victim, he says. I shrug, lazily. You don't act like a rescuer. Something flickers across his face. Irritation, confusion, maybe a sliver of reluctant curiosity. He sits opposite me, folding his arms across his chest. Every movement is deliberate, controlled. But the tension is there, coiled beneath the surface. Let's try this again, he says. If you weren't involved, how do you explain surviving a fire that killed wolves? You should have burns, broken bones, something. You sound disappointed, I say lightly. He ignores that. You don't smell like anyone, not even yourself. That's not normal. Maybe I'm just shy. Stop it. I am stopping. See? Sitting perfectly still. His fingers twitch again. He studies me for a long, quiet moment. His eyes move from my face, down my arms, back up again, searching for something that isn't there. Whatever you are, he says finally. You're not what I expected. I offer the smallest, softest smile. Good. His nostrils flare one more time before he stands abruptly. Get up, he orders. I blink. Pardon? You're coming with us. There's another fire tonight, and I want you there. Oh? I ask, rising slowly. As a hostage? A pet? A lucky charm? His gaze stays on me, unblinking, unreadable. As a test, he opens the door and gestures for me to follow. I step past him, brushing close enough that our shoulders almost touch, and feel his wolf flinch under his skin, even as he tries to hide it. At the threshold, I let my lips curl just a little. A subtle, quiet smirk. The first one he's seen, and judging by the way he freezes for half a heartbeat, he notices. The old factory looks like a dying beast when we arrive. Red light pulses across its rusted ribs with every lick of flame. Sirens wail in the distance, echoing off broken windows and crumbling brick. The air tastes like burning rubber and chemicals. Thick, oily, heavy enough to cling to my tongue. Wolves move everywhere in organized chaos. Helmets, hoses, gear clattering, orders barked sharp enough to cut through the roar of fire. And in the middle of all of it, Thane grips my arm just tightly enough to make a point as he pulls me toward the perimeter tape. To everyone else, he says under his breath, "You're a witness." And to you? I ask. A question mark I plan to solve. He lets go only when we're close enough that the heat forces most firefighters to mask up or keep distance. I don't need either. Heat doesn't scare me as much as the silence in Thane's scent does. He pretends to be watching the fire. He's watching me. I step forward, scanning the building. Flames snake along the upper rafters, bright and hungry. But the lower levels burn differently. Slower, colder, like something dampened them before ignition. The pattern clicks in my head instantly. North wall, I say. Thane glances at me. What? That's where it started. One of the wolves overhears and snorts. Kid, everything looks like it started somewhere when half the place is burning. But I point anyway. Not there. 3 floors down. Left side. There's a gap in the burn pattern. The smoke is thinner on that beam. The flames climbed from below, not above. Someone lit it at ground level, then moved upward in a spiral. The group of wolves around us goes silent. A lieutenant squints through the smoke. He's right. How the hell? Boss, another mutters. Did he study arson or something? Thane doesn't answer them. He doesn't take his eyes off me. His stare is sharp, calculating, like he's trying to peel back my skin to read the gears underneath. I ignore him and move ahead, hopping over a fallen beam. The floor groans under my foot. Emrys. Thane's voice sharpens. Stay close. I don't look back. If you wanted a compliant Omega, you should have picked literally anyone else. That gets a choked laugh out of someone behind us. Thane, however, looks like he's deciding whether he should strangle me or carry me back to the truck. He chooses neither. Instead, he steps in front of me, clearing the way with nothing but sheer physical presence. We reach a narrow metal catwalk that's half melted along the edges. My foot slips on the soot-slick surface. Before I can fall, a hand clamps around my forearm. Thane's hand. His grip is strong and scorching through his glove, pulling me flush against him for a heartbeat. Our chests bump. His breath brushes the top of my head. His scent, pine smoke, cold steel, rushes over me. And his wolf hits the void around me like a bird slamming into glass. I feel it. He feels it. The moment his instincts extinguish mid-lunge, his pupils tighten. His nostrils flare in pure confusion, as if trying to force a scent into existence by will alone. I tilt my head back and meet his eyes. You're doing it again, I murmur. Doing what? He growls, voice a little too rough, trying to smell me. For a second he's frozen, caught between anger, embarrassment, and something much more primal. He lets go of my arm a moment too late to look casual. Behind us, one of his firefighters whistles low. Oof. Boss, you good? Your instincts glitching, or is the Omega just too quiet for you? Another pipes up. Never seen the captain look so confused. Should we call tech support? Thane doesn't even bother turning around. If you all don't shut up, he says, I'm throwing every one of you into the training pit. They laugh but quickly scatter as he shoots them a look that could melt concrete. I watch him and, for the first time in years, feel something like curiosity spark in my chest. Not fear, not amusement. Curiosity. Thane steps closer again, lowering his voice. You knew exactly where that fire started, he says. No hesitation, no guesswork. The building told me, I reply simply. That's not normal. Neither am I. His jaw tightens at that, but he doesn't argue. Instead, he studies my face with slow, deliberate scrutiny, searching for lies, finding none, hating that. The flames roar louder, popping overhead. Sparks float down like red snow. Thane finally looks away to assess the spreading blaze. But I can feel him thinking, turning over every piece of data he has. Then, you're not the arsonist, he says quietly. I blink. I thought I was your main suspect. You're not, he answers, firm. But you're still dangerous. His eyes slide back to mine. Just the way I thought. The heat from the burning factory washes over us, coating everything in a shimmering haze. For the first time since he dragged me out of the ruins, I let the faintest smile touch my lips. Dangerous in a different way, Good. That's exactly where things start to get interesting. By the time the third factory goes up in flames, even the city is starting to take it personally. Smoke sprawls across the skyline like a bruise. Heat rolls over us in waves as Squad 7 piles out of the truck, boots hitting asphalt in a steady, practiced rhythm. Shouts, radio chatter, the rush of water through hoses, it all blends into one loud, familiar chaos. It's the wolves I'm listening to. Their scents fold together into a dense cocktail, adrenaline, sweat, fear that no one wants to admit is fear. Packs don't like to smell afraid around each other. It complicates the hierarchy. Tonight, though, something else rides under it all. A sharp tang of unease. They're not just here to fight the fire. They're here to see what I do. Stay behind me, Thane says as we move closer. Is that an order? I ask. It's a survival tip. How thoughtful, He doesn't dignify that with a response. The building is some kind of distribution warehouse, wide, low, and already half-eaten by fire. Flames gnaw at the loading docks, climbing the walls in hungry streaks. The charred stench of burning plastic and cardboard stings my nose. Thane's voice cuts through the noise, snapping out commands. Team Alpha, circle the east side. Beta, get that truck closer and start the exterior defense. Gamma, with me. No one questions him. They move like he's gravity. One of them, though, moves badly. Young Alpha, new to the squad. I've seen him twice now, too eager, laughing too loud, always as if trying to prove he belongs in this uniform. Right now, he's shaking. His gear hangs slightly crooked on his frame. His breaths come short and fast, almost panting. His scent, usually bright sharp with new alpha arrogance, is frayed around the edges, singed. The heat's getting to him. Wolves handle fire better than humans do. Our bodies are built to take the strain, lungs stronger, reflexes faster. But heat does something ugly to unstable nerves. It peels things back, lets the beast underneath push closer to the surface. Rian's beast is too close. Rian, Thane calls over the roar. Focus on the hose line. Got it, Captain. Rian barks back. He doesn't have it. He stumbles toward the entrance, eyes a little too bright, hands gripping the hose like a lifeline. Flames snap at the doorway, flaring, reflecting in his irises like molten gold. I feel it before I see it. The shift. His heartbeat spikes, scent twisting from nervous to feral. His muscles bunch under the gear, shoulders rolling forward in a movement that's more animal than human. Then it happens. His claws punch through the tips of his gloves with a wet rip of fabric. His canines lengthen behind his lips, flashing white when he snarls, head tipping back, in a sound that's not quite a howl, not quite a scream. Something half-formed and ragged. Wolves nearby flinch. Instinct reacts before reason. Shit. Someone curses. He's losing it. Rian, stand down. Thane's voice hits like a whip. It doesn't land. Rian's wolf is in control now, eyes blown wide and glowing amber. He drags in great heaving breaths, taking in fire, fear, adrenaline, and whatever. Self-control he had left goes up in flames right along with the warehouse. He turns, on his own squad. I see the exact moment everyone tenses, ready to lunge. Alphas shifting weight to the balls of their feet, betas bracing, all of them trying to decide whether they're about to restrain him or survive him. Thane's hand flies up. Hold. They freeze. Their trust in him is almost painful. Rian is seconds away from tearing into someone just to release the pressure. His claws flex. His lips peel back from his teeth. I'm standing closest. Of course I am. He spins toward me with a guttural sound, eyes wild and empty of recognition. Heat claws at my skin. The fire behind him roars, throwing his half-shifted form into sharp, monstrous relief. Fangs. Claws. A wolf that hasn't finished deciding what shape it wants to devour the world in. I don't move. I just look at him. Not as prey. Not as threat. Just as noise. Too loud. Too much. Stop, I say quietly. Rian's gaze collides with mine. And then, everything drops. His snarl chokes off mid-growl. The gold in his eyes snuffs out like a candle in a vacuum. His shoulders slam down, muscles going from overcharged to limp in an instant. His claws retract with a painful-looking jerk. He collapses to his knees. The air changes. The feral edge that had everyone's wolves bristling simply vanishes, leaving behind a ringing, unnatural stillness. Rian stares blankly at the ground, chest heaving. Whatever had him by the throat is gone, leaving only a young man in too big gear, shaking under the weight of what almost happened. I adjust my grip on the broken piece of concrete I hadn't even realized I'd picked up. Too noisy, I say, more to myself than anyone. You were drowning everyone. Silence spreads out from us like shockwaves. No one moves. No one speaks. Even the fire feels quieter for a heartbeat. Then the whispers start. Did you see that? He just looked at him. Rian was full-on shifting. How the hell? That Omega. It's him. He shut Rian down. It's Emrys, someone mutters behind me. The extinguisher. I resist the urge to roll my eyes. Thane moves first. He stalks over to Rian, checking his eyes, his hands, his pulse. Then, satisfied the rookie isn't going to explode again, he lifts his head and looks straight at me. His expression is carved out of stone. Inside, he says, "It's not a request." I arch a brow. "You mean now?" I was just starting to enjoy the ambiance. "This isn't a joke." Didn't laugh. His wolf brushes against the boundary of my presence, curious despite himself. And just like always, when it touches that invisible field, it goes quiet. Every time, the same reaction. Every time, I feel him realize it all over again. By the time the fire is contained, and Rian is bundled off to the medic truck, the whispers have grown teeth. He can switch us off. What if he does it to the whole unit? What if he doesn't stop? The council is going to lose their minds over this. The council, as it turns out, doesn't wait to be told. By the time we're back at the station, 2 sleek black cars are already parked in the lot, oozing self-importance and political perfume. Thane swears under his breath when he sees them. Inside, the station suddenly feels too small. Too many scents layered over each other: coffee, old smoke, wet gear, stress, and threaded through it all, a colder, cleaner note. Authority. 2 council representatives stand in the main briefing room. One is tall, silver-haired, with a face that has forgotten how to smile. The other is younger, sharp-eyed, wearing a suit that probably cost more than my entire pre-fire life. They look at me like I'm a faulty weapon someone accidentally activated. "You should have reported the anomaly immediately, Captain," the silver-haired one says to Thane, not taking his gaze off me. "An Omega capable of suppressing alpha shifts is not a field asset. He's a containment issue." Rian was going to tear into his own squad, Thane says evenly. Emrys stopped that from happening. Today, the younger counselor says. Tomorrow, he could decide to stop an entire block of alphas if he gets emotional. Their eyes flick over me like I'm already in chains. "We'll be taking him for evaluation," the older one concludes. "Effective immediately." The squad stiffens. Ryan, pale but conscious on a bench nearby, starts to push to his feet. "That's not... he saved." Thane gives him a tiny shake of his head. Rian grits his teeth and sits back down, eyes burning. "Well?" the younger counselor says. "Omega. Anything to say?" I meet his gaze calmly. "I prefer Emrys to containment issue," I say. "But I've been called worse." A few of the wolves around us snort softly. "This isn't a joke," the older man snaps. "I've heard that before tonight too," I reply, always right before someone makes a terrible decision. Thane's mouth twitches like he wants to smile and absolutely refuses to let himself. The counselors share a look. I can practically see the decision solidify between them. "Captain Thane, you are ordered to surrender the Omega into council custody," the younger one says. "Failure to comply will result in disciplinary action and a full review of your command." You could drop a pin in the silence that follows. Thane's scent tightens, anger like a flash of hot metal under ice. His wolf surges up, furious. And then, in my orbit, it dims. He closes his eyes for the briefest second, riding out the jarring sensation of his own instincts cutting out mid-surge. When he opens them, they're steady, cold, dangerous. "No," he says. The word hangs there, shocking everyone, including me. The counselors stare. "Excuse me?" the older one asks, voice like broken glass. Thane lifts his chin. "You want to evaluate him?" he says. "Fine. You'll do it through my reports, on my territory, under my supervision. I'm not handing over a wolf who just saved one of my squad like some defective piece of equipment. That isn't your call." The younger one bites out. "It is when it's my unit," Thane answers. His tone is calm, but there's something iron-hard underneath. "And he is under my protection until I say otherwise." The room is a storm held together by his voice. There's a long, vibrating pause. "This isn't over," the silver-haired counselor finally says. His eyes flick to me with something that looks a lot like promise. We will revisit this, Captain. Very soon. They leave with stiff backs and tight shoulders, taking their expensive cologne with them. The door shuts. The station exhales all at once. Thane turns toward me. Come on, he says. Where? I ask. He jerks his head toward the hallway. My office. The squad watches us go with an odd mix of fear, respect, and curiosity. Thane's office is smaller than I expected. Plain desk, battered chair, filing cabinet that's fighting for its life. A couch along the far wall that's seen too many exhausted wolves. The air smells like coffee, paperwork, and smoke that never quite leaves his clothes. He closes the door behind us and leans against it for a second, like he's holding the whole station up with his shoulders. Then he looks at me. There's no official mask now. Just a man who's just told the council to go to hell on my behalf. You're scared, I say quietly. His brows slam together. Of the council? Please. Not of them. I watch his throat work. His wolf stirs, restless, and, as always, drops to a simmer when it brushes against my presence. He hates it. I can see it in the tightness of his grip on the back of his chair. You're afraid of me, I say, not mocking, just stating it. He holds my gaze. Yes, he says finally. I'd be an idiot not to be. The honesty hits harder than any snarl. My fingers curl at my sides. For a moment, the urge to look away wars with the instinct to finally stop running from what I am. So I don't look away. My blood is old, I say. The words taste like rust and ash. Rare. He doesn't interrupt. We don't start fires, I continue. We put them out. His brow furrows. Fire? He asks. Wolves, I correct softly. The ones inside you. The ones that get too loud, too wild, too dangerous. I take a step closer. He doesn't move. His wolf strains against a leash it can't see. We were made to shut them down, I say. To be the thing that says, enough, when the pack can't. We're not weapons. We're fail-safes. The word hangs between us. Then, because he deserves the whole truth, I add, just as quietly, and if you push us hard enough, if you scare us, if you corner us, if you keep trying to pry us apart, my eyes lock on his. We can turn it off forever. His throat bobs. Turn. What off? He asks, even though we both know he already understands. The wolf, I whisper. The shift. The part of you that howls. You'd still be you. Just human. Permanently. For a second, I think he might laugh it off. Call it a threat. Accuse me of exaggerating. He doesn't. His hands are shaking. Just slightly. Just enough that the fingers curled over the chair's back tremble like he's holding on to the last normal thing in the room. He swallows hard. Eyes never leaving mine. And you, he says slowly, could do that to me. Yes. But you haven't. I exhale. A humorless half-smile tugging at my mouth. No, I say. I haven't. He stares, searching my face for a reason he can catalog, label, file away. There isn't one he'll like. So why? He asks finally. Because you pulled me out of the fire. Because you smell like smoke and pine and stubbornness. Because your wolf shuts up around me and I don't feel hunted for once. Because I haven't decided you deserve it, I say instead. His lips twitch into something that's not quite a smile and not quite a flinch. Silence stretches out, taut as wire. Then Thane does the last thing I expect. He lets go of the chair, steps closer, and stops barely an arm's length away. Close enough that I can hear his heartbeat, steady and strong, even if his wolf is muted. I should walk out of this room, he says. Let the council lock you up and pretend it makes everyone safer. Yeah, I say softly. You probably should. He looks at me for a long, unbearable moment, and stays. He doesn't touch me, doesn't reach for me, but he stays. And I realize with a jolt that's half terror, half relief, that I care about the answer to a question I never thought I'd ask myself. If he knows what I am now, will he still stand this close? I wake before Thane does, mostly because I'm not sure I actually slept. The room is too unfamiliar. The The silence too loud, the faint scent of pine smoke embedded into everything too distracting. Thane's quarters are small, surprisingly small for someone who commands an entire squad. Bare walls, a battered desk, a single narrow bed pushed against the wall under a window cracked open just enough to let in cold morning air. I'm sitting on that bed now, wrapped in one of his towels, legs pulled up loosely. Hair still damp from the shower he practically shoved me into last night. For someone who told the council to go to hell, the man fusses like a grandmother. The sun isn't up yet. The room is gray and dim, painted by the low glow of the emergency light in the hall. I can hear the station breathing, distant footsteps, murmured voices, the hum of industrial vents. But in here, it's just him. Thane is lying on the couch. He insisted I take the bed. I insisted I could sleep on the floor. He won. Pure alpha stubbornness backed by the unspoken fact that no one argues with him and remains sane. He's sprawled on his back, one arm flung over his face. His breathing is even. But what catches me is what's missing. Most wolves, even asleep, let their scent out in soft pulses. Instinct working, patrolling, reacting to the world even in dreams. Thane's wolf? Muted. Completely. Not suppressed. Not caged. Just gone still. Because I'm here. His chest rises again, slow, then stops halfway. I realize what woke him. He can hear me breathing. He shifts, lowering his arm. For a moment he doesn't speak, just looks at me across the room. Eyes a hazy, gray-blue in the half-light, hair mussed, expression groggy and uncertain. Not the captain, just Thane. His voice is rough with sleep. You're awake. So are you. He huffs. I wasn't expecting. His gaze flicks over the towel, the wet hair. He clears his throat. Company, it's your fault for dragging me in here, I say lightly. His mouth twitches, trying to decide between a smile and a sigh. He sits up slowly, scrubbed hand dragging across his jaw. Then I feel it, the flicker of his wolf rising, instinctive, habitual. And, just as quickly, fading. He notices. For once, he doesn't hide it. You know, he says quietly, I can feel it every time I get close enough to you. He pauses. My wolf. It just disappears. I study him, expression softening despite myself. I'm not turning you off, I say. You're doing that. His brow furrows. Explain. You're not afraid of me, I reply. Not enough to trigger the part of you that claws out. Your instincts aren't shutting down. I tap my chest lightly. They're relaxing. His eyes search my face, like he's trying to fit that truth into the space between us. And here, I thought it was because you were dangerous, he says. Oh, I am, I say with a small smile. Just not to you. Not unless you give me a reason. A muscle jumps in his cheek. He's sitting a little straighter, breathing a little deeper. That's when I realize what's really happening. He's starting to trust me. And trust is a much more dangerous thing than fear. Breakfast at the station is an exercise in chaos. Wolves pile into the cafeteria like a pack of overgrown puppies with endless appetites. The smell of eggs, burnt toast, and too strong coffee fills the air. Thane walks beside me, stiff and unreadable. The moment we step inside, every head turns. Rion, the rookie whose shift I cut short, shoves a tray into my hands. On the house, he says, then adds with a sheepish grin, thanks for yesterday. And sorry for almost clawing you. You're forgiven, I say. What about me? Someone calls. I didn't almost claw you, but I can. If it helps. Laughter ripples through the room. Another firefighter nudges Thane with an elbow. So, boss, you keeping him? Looks like he brought home a stray, someone else adds. Quietest stray I've ever seen, but still. Well, Rian says thoughtfully. Quiet until he shuts down a whole alpha, that is, careful. Another warns with a grin. Talk too loud, and he'll unplug you too. Thane glares at them all with the tired resignation of a man who knows he's outnumbered. Eat, he mutters. I do. And for the first time since the fire, something warm settles low in my chest. A laugh escapes me. Quiet, barely a breath. but a laugh, nonetheless. Thane hears it. His gaze snaps to me like the sound is something physically new in the world. He doesn't smile, but the corner of his mouth shifts in a way that looks like the blueprint of one. The sense of calm doesn't last. Not an hour later, alarms blare through the station. Lights flash. Wolves scramble into motion. Another fire. Bigger. Closer. Too similar to the others. Thane grabs his helmet from the rack, jaw tight. Stay here. No, I say. Emrys. With me, I interrupt. It's safer. For who? He snaps. I hold his gaze. For all of you. He hates it. Every instinct in him wants to shield, to control, to command. But he also knows I'm right. His shoulders rise, fall. Slowly, reluctantly, he nods. Fine, he says. But you stay behind the front line. You don't run toward danger, you don't split from me, and if anything feels off, you tell me. I tilt my head. You always give your Omega passengers this many rules? He exhales, somewhere between a laugh and a curse. You're not my Omega, he says. I step past him toward the truck. Not yet, I murmur. And from the way his wolf stutters in his scent, he definitely heard that. By the time we reach the edge of the research district, the night sky is gone. The fire has eaten it. Flames roar up the sides of the laboratory complex. 7 stories of glass and steel now warped, melted, collapsing in on themselves. The heat hits us before we even step out of the truck. A choking wave that feels like opening an oven the size of a city block. Wolves from multiple squads are already on site. Their scents hit me in disjointed pulses. Fear, adrenaline, rage. The sharp metallic tang of instincts teetering on the edge. Thane's jaw clenches as he takes in the chaos. Alpha teams, perimeter defense. He snaps. Betas, support line B. Nobody shifts unless ordered. But the fire is too strong. The heat is destabilizing them. Across the burning courtyard, I see an Alpha from a different unit snarl at his own squadmate, claws punching out through his gloves as he loses control. Another smashes a hydrant open with a half-shifted arm, breathing in ragged, broken gasps. The fire isn't just burning the building. It's burning their instincts. A shockwave of heat rolls out from an explosion inside the complex. Glass shatters, metal peels back. Flames blast skyward. Wolves stagger. Someone screams, and through the smoke, I smell something wrong. Not fire, not fear, something rotten. Like a scent that used to be whole but has been twisted, shredded, burned down to a chemical ghost. Then I see him. A figure steps out from the ruins, framed by the inferno like some nightmare deity of scorched earth, half transformed. Wounds glowing with ember light, claws dripping with soot and blood, eyes blown wide in shining gold, but not the warm gold of a wolf, a warped, fractured gold that flickers like broken neon. His scent is chaos, toxic, unstable, like he's burning from the inside out. Thane goes still beside me. Oh hell, someone breathes behind us. That's Varen, Thane finishes grimly. The Alpha from the Council's tactical unit. Or he used to be. Varen spots the squads lined up against him. Then his eyes lock onto me. Recognition slams into his expression. Twisted, wild, triumphant. There you are, he snarls. Voice a guttural rasp. The Omega who kills wolves. Murmurs ripple through the line behind us. Thane steps in front of me immediately. Back off. He's not your concern. Varen laughs, a horrible cracking sound that makes several wolves flinch. Not my concern. He's the reason this is happening. Varen roars, voice distorted. He's the threat. He's the one who'll extinguish us all. His gaze burns through the heat waves as he raises one clawed hand. You don't belong in our pack, he snarls at me. You never did. Then he lunges. Not at me. At Thane. The speed is inhuman, even for an Alpha. He hits Thane like a wrecking ball, slamming him into a collapsed port beam. The metal buckles under the impact. Thane's helmet cracks, visor snapping off. Before I can move, Varen is on him, claws tearing across Thane's chest plate, denting the reinforced armor like it's cardboard. Thane's snarl rips out of him, primal and raw. His wolf surges up, explosive. Fangs lengthen, claws slide out, bones shift, his transformation slamming into place with terrifying speed. But the moment his instincts brush my presence, they falter, stutter, drop, just like always. Thane growls in pure frustration as his wolf tries to ignite, sputters and dims all within a breath. Which means Varen, whose wolf is burning hotter than the fire itself, has the upper hand. He slams Thane into the ground. Hard, wolves scream his name. A few try to rush forward, but the heat drives them back. Varen raises one massive burning claw to strike. Something in me clicks. Not panic, not fear, just decision. I step forward, through the heat, through the smoke, through the panic twisting the air into knives. Thane sees me through half-shifted eyes, the silver of his irises fighting against the dimming gold. Emrys, he snarls, voice broken. Stay back. Varen turns toward me like a predator sensing a final victory. You should have stayed out of this, he growls. You should have died in that first fire. You're a mistake, a defect, I meet his burning gaze, and look, really look, not with fear, not with submission, not with anger, just quiet certainty. No, I say softly, you're the mistake. The world exhales. For a moment, nothing moves. Then, silence, real silence. Not the absence of sound, the absence of instinct. The fire still crackles, metal still creaks, sirens still wail. But every wolf within several meters of me, including Varen, goes still. The gold in Varen's eyes gutters. His claws retract mid-swing, trembling. His half-shift melts back painfully. His breath stutters. He collapses to his knees. Like a puppet with its strings severed, the silence spreads like a ripple. Wolves stare at me, at him, at the impossible. Some look terrified. Some look like they're witnessing a myth come to life. Thane pushes himself to his feet slowly, chest heaving, armor cracked but intact. He's staring at Varen, then at me, then back again, like trying to understand a language he never learned. Emrys, he says, voice low and disbelieving. But before he can finish, engines roar in the distance, not fire trucks. Black, sleek council transports. They stop at the edge of the inferno. Doors slam open. Counselors step out in protective gear, flanked by armed enforcers. They survey the scene. A feral alpha extinguished by a single omega. A research complex in ruins. A squad of wolves staring at me like I'm a bomb they didn't know they were carrying. The silver-haired counselor from earlier looks straight at Thane, then at me. His eyes are cold steel. Captain, he says with icicle politeness, step away from the omega. Thane's wolf surges, snarling, and immediately flickers out in my presence. He fights it, but he can't stop it. The council sees that. Their expressions shift. Not confusion, not fear, understanding, and fear. Contain him, the younger counselor orders, pointing at me. Now. Before he extinguishes anyone else, Thane steps between us instinctively, even knowing his wolf won't hold, even knowing they're about to brand me something I can't come back from. Emrys, he murmurs, voice hoarse, stay behind me. But the council isn't watching him. They're watching me, because in the span of one fire, one fight, one moment, I've become something no pack wants to admit exists. Not a survivor, not a witness, not an omega, a weapon, an official threat, and they intend to claim me. The aftermath of the fire turns the entire station into a powder keg. The council swarms the place like hornets, sharp suits, clipped voices, the metallic stench of authority pressed into every corner. Wolves from Squad 7 give me wary glances, some protective, some afraid, none indifferent. Thane stands between me and the council like he's made of reinforced concrete. But I can smell the tension thrumming through him, sharp, metallic, edged with instinct he can't fully access in my presence. The silver-haired counselor speaks first. Captain Thane, you will surrender the Omega to council custody immediately. Thane folds his arms across his chest, jaw tight. I already told you. He stays here. The younger counselor steps forward, voice smooth but venomous. If you refuse, Squad 7 will be disbanded for violating federal containment protocols. That hits the room like a seismic shock. A couple of wolves flinch. One curses under his breath. Thane doesn't move. But I see it. The crack. His wolf tries to flare in anger and dims the moment it brushes against my presence. He hates that. The counselor sees it. He smells victory. Hand him over, he repeats, quieter this time. Before your entire unit pays the price. Thane looks at me. The kind of look a wolf gives before making a terrible, irreversible decision. All I can think is, no, not for me. So I speak before he can. I'll go. The room freezes. Thane turns fully toward me, eyes wide in a way I've never seen. Shock, anger, fear all knotted together. Emrys, he says quietly. Don't. This is my choice, I reply, voice calm enough to scare even myself. They won't touch your squad if I'm not standing behind you. His throat works, muscles flexing in his jaw. I step closer, lowering my voice. This isn't surrender. It's strategy. You don't owe them anything, he growls. I owe you. I say softly. Thank you. For the silence. For once he doesn't know what to do with the words. Something raw flashes in his eyes. Something too real, too human. I turn away before it hurts. The roof is quiet at night. A rectangle of concrete above the endlessly breathing city. The wind carries a tapestry of scents. Smoke from a distant fire, exhaust from late-night traffic, the restless hum of wolves moving through the blocks below. I stand by the railing, looking out at the skyline. My scent, if I had one, would be torn away by the wind. Thane finds me within minutes. Of course he does. He approaches slowly, as if afraid I'll vanish if he blinks. You shouldn't have done that, he says. His voice is rough, scraped raw by things he won't admit. I always thought I was dangerous, I reply. Too dangerous to be around anyone for long. You're not, he snaps. I lift a brow. Varen would disagree. He was unstable, broken. You didn't hurt him. You stopped him. That's the problem, I say quietly. I can stop anyone. His jaw clenches. I go on. I spent my whole life thinking I was a glitch, a threat. Something that shouldn't exist. My fingers curl lightly against the railing. Tonight just confirmed it. Thane steps closer, close enough that his heat brushes my skin, close enough that his wolf tries to lift its head, and melts into silence again. He doesn't fight it this time. You're dangerous only to people who try to own you, he says. Slow, deliberate, like carving truth into stone. To people who think you're a weapon, to people who want to cage you. His eyes meet mine. And I'm not one of them. For a moment, I let myself believe him. The wind tugs at my hair. The city glows below like embers in a giant hearth. But the council is waiting. The future is already creaking open like a trap. I straighten. Thane senses it even before I speak. No. His voice cracks like lightning. I'm leaving, I say gently. You're not. His breath shudders. Emrys, don't do this. This is the only way to keep your pack intact, I say. They'll destroy you to get to me. His scent, what little I can catch of it, tightens with panic, real panic. He steps forward and catches my wrist, not forcefully, desperately. I look down at his hand, then up at him. You can't protect me from everyone, I whisper. He swallows hard. His grip trembles. I shouldn't want to, he says. But I do. For one suspended heartbeat, neither of us breathes. Then I pull my hand free. It feels like tearing a thread that was never meant to break. I turn away. I walk toward the exit to the stairwell. I don't look back. Behind me, Thane's voice breaks across the rooftop like a vow carved into the city itself. I'll find you, Emrys. He doesn't shout. He doesn't snarl. He promises. And when I do, I'm bringing you home. The laboratory smells like nothing. Not clean. Not sterile. Nothing. It's a place deliberately stripped of scent, emotion, instinct, every trace of the living world, scrubbed away until all that's left is white walls, stainless steel, and humming lights. A cage built for wolves who rely on their noses to feel safe. A perfect trap for someone like me. I sit on the metal bench in the center of the containment room. It's bolted to the floor. The walls are reinforced. Cameras blink like unblinking eyes. Beyond the glass, I can see silhouettes moving. A scientist taking notes, a guard in, tactical armor, an enforcer wolf whose scent I can't read through the purified air. My fingers tap a restless rhythm against my knee. On the outside, I look calm. On the inside, I'm burning. Not the kind of fire that eats buildings. The kind that eats nerves. Patience. Restraint. Thane's pack didn't deserve to be threatened because of me. Thane didn't deserve it either. But being here feels worse than I expected. If they think they can dissect what I am, they're wrong. The metal door hisses. A scientist steps inside, tablet in hand. "We're ready to begin secondary testing," he says, voice clipped. Testing. I taste the word like poison. "And after that?" I ask. "Containment protocol review," meaning determining long-term storage procedure. Storage. I laugh once. It's a sharp, ugly sound. He steps back like it burned him. Good. Let them feel a fraction of the fear they think they own. They don't get far. Somewhere down the hall, alarms explode into life. Sirens blaring, red lights strobing across white walls. The guard outside the glass freezes, hand flying to his comm. "What? Which sector?" He doesn't get an answer. The wall behind him detonates. Metal and plaster burst outward, sending debris into the hall. Figures pour through the smoke. Wolves in fire gear. Masks. Helmets. And in the front, moving like a blade, Thane. He rips the cracked door off its hinges with a growl so deep it vibrates the floor. His wolf is pushing hard, desperate to surface, and I feel it hit the boundary around me, and stutter, and dim, but not all the way, not like before. He forces his instincts forward by sheer will. "Emrys," he snarls, eyes blazing silver, "come here." Behind him, Squad 7 floods the hallway, taking down guards with efficient, controlled strikes. Someone yells, "We don't leave our own behind." A scientist screams as a beta shuts down his console with a fist. "Contain this, you little..." It's chaos. Beautiful, ridiculous chaos. And then they all stop. Because something else happens. My emotions, anger, betrayal, fear for them, flare like a struck match. The air ripples. One by one, wolves in the hallway gasp and stagger. Their instincts sputter out like someone doused them in ice water. The enforcers collapse to their knees, claws retracting, fangs clicking back into human teeth. My power responds to my pulse. Too wild, too sharp, too much. Emrys. Thane barks. Focus. He pushes through the dying field of instinct with a snarl, fighting every step. He's shaking with effort, his wolf trying to break free of the suppression washing over the corridor. Anyone else would have already collapsed. He keeps going, until he's in front of me. Chest heaving, eyes bright, hands trembling. "Look at me," he demands. Not them. I do. And the moment our eyes lock, the field around me shifts, tightens, narrows. Everyone else is still in its radius, still subdued. But Thane stands untouched. Because I don't extinguish him. I don't want to. His breathing steadies. His wolf pushes up again, testing, cautious, but alive. He reaches out, fingers brushing my jaw in a touch so gentle it almost undoes me. "Emrys," he murmurs. "Softer this time. You're all right." I swallow. "You're not going out," I whisper. "Not you." His eyes close for a heartbeat, relief washing through him like a trembling exhale. Then he turns to his squad. "We're leaving." Minutes later, we're back on the street outside the lab. Squad 7 forms a protective circle around us as council cars screech to a stop. The silver-haired counselor steps out, face pale. What the hell happened here? Before Thane can answer, another voice speaks up. A hoarse, familiar voice dragged from the back of an armored truck. Varen, alive. Restrained, sane. I did it, he says. The fires, all of them. Not him. His eyes flick weakly to me. He saved me. Twice. The counselors exchange horrified glances. Thane's lip curls. Looks like you need to update your threat list, he says coldly. The younger counselor sputters. You can't simply. This is highly irregular. He should still be. You're not taking him, Thane snaps, voice like thunder. Not now. Not ever. The silver-haired counselor swallows hard. Considering the new evidence, he looks at me with resignation. The Omega is free to go. Free. The word tastes unreal. Thane steps closer, eyes fixed on mine. You're coming with us, he says. Not commanding. Inviting. For the first time, I let myself believe him. And step into the circle of wolves who fought the world to get me back. The station looks different when we return. Maybe it's the early morning light stretching over the bay doors. Maybe it's the exhaustion settling into everyone's bones. Or maybe it's because, for the first time, they're not staring at me like a potential catastrophe. They're staring like they've been holding a place for me. Rian is the first to break from the cluster of wolves waiting inside. Emrys. He calls, waving both arms like he's trying to flag down a plane. Good news. We didn't let the council turn your room into a storage closet. Someone yells from behind him. We also didn't let Gary steal your blanket. A deep groan. It was one blanket. And one theft. Too many. Laughter erupts, bouncing off concrete walls. Another wolf claps me on the shoulder as I pass. Welcome back, extinguisher. Someone else adds, hey, nobody piss him off, all right? I like having a wolf side. Would prefer to keep it. If he shuts you down, I'm stealing your locker, Rian says. Over my dead body. That's how you lose a locker and a wolf. The teasing is ridiculous, chaotic, warm, and the strangest part is, I feel part of it. Thane watches the entire scene with the expression of a man who would rather wrestle a burning dumpster than admit he's fond of his dysfunctional pack. Enough, he growls. Let him breathe. We are letting him breathe, someone counters. Just loudly. Thane gives them a look that instantly quiets half the room. But he gives me something else. A moment. A glance. One that feels like a silent welcome home. Later, after medical checks, paperwork, and 4 forced bowls of soup from the squad's unofficial cook, Thane nudges my shoulder. Come on. He leads me down the quieter hallway behind the main bay. The walls here are lined with lockers and framed squad photos. Wolves with soot-smeared faces grinning like maniacs. Thane's in a few, always looking like someone forced him into the picture. He stops in front of a door. This is yours, he says, opening it. The room is small, but bigger than I expected. Clean. A real bed. Not a cot. Fresh blankets. A window overlooking the training yard. Someone even left a tiny plant on the desk, though it's unclear whether it's a peace offering or a prank. I take a slow breath. It smells like detergent and wood polish. Neutral. Livable. Thane crosses his arms. The room next to mine was the only one available. I lift a brow. Only one. It's not like I assigned it, he mutters. The system did. He frowns. Don't start. I didn't say anything. You thought something. I let a small smile curve my lips. He scrubs a hand over his jaw, defeated. Fine. Yes, I wanted you close. Happy now? Very. His exhale sounds like someone letting go of 20 years of tension. We stand there for a moment, not speaking, not needing to. The hallway hums with distant activity. Radios crackle down the corridor. Somewhere, a wolf sneezes loud enough to shake a locker. But here, in this tiny pocket of stillness, the world finally feels aligned. I sit on the edge of the bed, fingers brushing the soft blanket. Thane stands in the doorway, leaning against the frame, like he's trying to decide whether he's allowed to enter. Thane, I say quietly. His eyes lift to mine. I extinguish everyone else's beasts, I say. All it takes is a breath, a glance, a heartbeat. He nods slowly, like he already knows where I'm going. But yours. My voice softens. Yours always tries to reach me, even when it falters. He steps into the room then. 1, 2 slow steps until he's close enough that the warmth of him brushes my skin. Mine doesn't fear you, he says. It recognizes you. Does it? His voice drops, rough and honest. Every part of me does. Heat rises in my chest. Not fire. Something gentler. Something dangerously close to happiness. A moment stretches, suspended between us like a held breath. He's almost close enough to touch. Then, a shout down the hall. Captain. Rian broke the coffee machine again. Thane closes his eyes. I'm going to strangle him. I laugh under my breath, a real laugh this time. He opens his eyes at the sound and looks at me like it's the first light after a long night. I'll be back, he says, low and certain. I know. He turns to go, but pauses, glancing over his shoulder. Emrys? His gaze softens in a way I'm not sure he's aware of. Welcome home. Something warm unfurls in my chest like a spark catching. When he's gone, I sink onto the bed fully and look around the dim little room, the plant, the blankets, the quiet, and I whisper into the stillness, soft and true. Strange. How next to you, even ash smells like light.